In the early years of the 20th century, in a modest workshop shaped by discipline and precision, a machine quietly took form. It was not the first of its kind, but it carried an idea that would endure, that engineering could be exact, repeatable, and refined. As it moved across uneven roads and uncertain terrain, it did more than transport. It signaled the beginning of something deliberate. As decades passed, that intention evolved into presence. By the 1920s and 30s, form and function began to merge with elegance. Long silhouettes, measured power, and careful craftsmanship gave rise to an object that no longer simply moved through the world, but defined how it was seen. Even in moments of global hardship, it remained composed, confident, and unmistakably distinct. Then the world shifted. During the years of conflict, production lines fell silent to luxury, and industry turned toward necessity. Yet when peace returned, so too did ambition. What followed was not restraint, but expression. In the post-war decades, design became bold, even theatrical. Forms stretched, details sharpened, and a new visual language emerged, one that reflected a society looking forward with certainty. But such certainty is rarely permanent. By the 1970s, external pressures began to reshape the landscape. Resources tightened, expectations changed. What once symbolized strength began to feel excessive, and gradually the clarity of identity gave way to hesitation. Through the following decades, the presence that had once defined an era grew quieter. The world moved on, and for a time it was no longer leading it. And yet it did not disappear. At the turn of the new millennium, a transformation began, not sudden, but intentional. Lines became sharper, surfaces more deliberate. There was a renewed sense of direction, as though the past had been studied and then set aside. Performance returned, not as spectacle, but as precision, and with it, a quiet confidence. Soon after, another shift emerged, one less visible but far more profound. The sound began to fade. Electric motion replaced combustion. Complexity gave way to clarity. Interiors opened into spaces of calm, guided by systems that required less input and offered more understanding. The relationship between human and machine began to change, becoming less about control and more about trust. And as we look toward the middle of this century, even the concept of the automobile begins to soften. Boundaries dissolve, movement becomes seamless. Vehicles no longer compete for space, they coordinate within it. What was once driven is now guided. What was once mechanical is now responsive, and what was once an object becomes an environment. From its earliest form, shaped by hand and necessity, to its future state, defined by intelligence and quiet precision, this is not simply a story of progress. It is the story of adaptation, of identity, and of a presence that, despite time, has never truly stood still.
Can you believe how smoothly this drives itself?
It's incredible. It's like flying on the ground.
Exactly. No stress, just enjoying the city.
The future is here.
Please like and comment the video, subscribe for more updates. Thank you.